Alright, what is going on? What's happening? How's everyone doing today? My name is Chuck and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, fellas, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be jumping into the top 5 modern warfare ARs you guys can use here in Warzone. So one of my previous top 5s, they covered pretty much modern warfare weapons in general, but today we're going to be specifically focusing on exclusively the assault rifles. And trust me when I say I got the best setups around for you guys to use on all these things, so I know you guys are going to love today's video. Before any farther, make sure you guys go ahead and do me a favor, drop a like in the next 5 seconds for some good luck, and subscribe with all the notifications turned on. We're on the road to 800,000 subscribers. Okay, so our first weapon here today, we're going to be taking a look at the Kilo 141. That's the gun that's on the thumbnail, and this is a pretty classic, tried and true gun that's got pretty much zero recoil. A lot of the Modern Warfare ARs have very, very little recoil to pretty much like none at all, and this is a old meta weapon that a lot of people really loved using and still, to be honest, love using right now. So let's actually jump into your first thing, and that muzzle category is going to be the monolithic suppressor, sound, suppression, damage, range. Of course, the mono is the best suppressor in the entire game for, the Modern Warfare weapons. I would only ever recommend the mono suppressor on any of your builds, doesn't matter if it's AR, SMG, LMG. It's just basically the only thing out there that I'd really recommend, so exclusively go with the monolithic suppressor. Next up in the barrel section, what we're doing is we're going to be having a few different options in here, and we have, obviously the 16.6 SOCOM, the Prowler barrel, and the Singard Arms Whisper. But what I'm going to suggest here to go is with the Prowler barrel, and the reason the Prowler barrel over the SOCOM barrel, even though they both give us damage, range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, is the fact that the Prowler barrel is going to do more of what the SOCOM essentially would be doing. It's going to do more in every single category: better recoil control, better damage range, and of course, better bullet velocity. So that's why we're going to go with the Prowler barrel here for this specific build. We want to be able to extend that range as much as possible, make the Kilo as much of a laser beam as we possibly can. So that's why we're going to go with the Prowler barrel here for this build. Next up in the underbarrel section, we're going to throw on the tried and true Commando foregrip. Don't gotta go crazy with this thing. A lot of the Modern Warfare ARs, you really don't have to use much more than a Commando. I've seen some people try to use stuff like the Merc foregrip, the Tactical, the Ranger, and to be honest with you, you're just gonna be slowing yourself down way too much. So only ever go with the Commando foregrip when you're building out pretty much any of your Modern Warfare ARs. I mean, you just got to keep it real simple. You don't got to go crazy with it. So here's the Commando foregrip on this. Next up in the magazine section, we have a couple of different options in here, and I'll tell you what, pretty much only the 50 and the 60 round magazine are going to be your viable options. That 100 round drum magazine is going to be absolutely abysmal, god awful. Don't ever choose that. I would never ever recommend you guys use the 100 round drum mag on this gun. It's just genuinely not a very good attachment. So only ever go with the 60 round magazine, especially if you're like myself and you're a 60 round magazine kind of guy, because that's just what I like to do. We're always playing duos, trios, and quads out here, so 60 rounds in your mag is going to be more beneficial if you're a solo player. 50 rounds is okay, but I would still even then just go 60 just because. I mean, it's really not going to be that big of a difference in your mobility loss or anything else like that. So go to 60. And then finish off this build where we go for the optics section. We have a couple different options in here. We can run the Corp Combat Hollow Sight, and that's going to be pretty solid. I've seen a lot of people run that. That was a pretty big meta back in the day, throwing the blue dot sight into this thing, and that is incredible. Or you can go with the VLK 3x optic, which is my personal choice on the Kilo. This is what I absolutely love doing, so I'd highly recommend you guys go with the VLK. Super clear sight. It's just the perfect amount of magnification. It's not going to be too much, too little. It's just great for any and all ranges, and by the time you get to that point where you can't see the person anymore, you're probably outside of your AR range anyways, so just kind of don't even mess with that. So this is gonna be my build here for the Kilo 141. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Amazing AR, probably my favorite blueprint, by the way, the Homecoming blueprint. It's awesome. You guys should definitely go ahead and try this build out. It would not be possible for me to make a top 5 Modern Warfare ARs without including also the M4A1. This is like a channel favorite. You guys know we all love the M4A1, so let's actually get into using this thing and just building out a really awesome setup with it. There's a variety of different ways you guys can actually build this thing for kind of like a closer to medium range, or even at like a longer range, but for me personally, I like to use this kind of like in that medium range and be pretty aggressive with it, especially on Rebirth Island. So I'll give you guys that specific setup for it, as that's going to be like what I would normally speaking go for. So the muzzle category here, first thing we're going to be using is that monolithic suppressor. Like I said, it's going to be the best attachment out there. I don't find it to be any sort of benefit to use like the lightweight, the tactical. It just doesn't really make sense. So I'll pretty much only ever go with the monolithic suppressor on this gun. After that, in the barrel section, what we're going to do is we're going to throw on that beautiful, actually, as I was say, the Corvus Custom Marksman. We're not throwing on that thing. We're actually going to throw on the stock M16 Grenadier barrel, as that pretty much does the exact same thing. It's like the Kilo, where you have, the 16.6 SOCOM, which is the equivalent to the Corvus Custom Marksman. Then you have the Prowler barrel, which is the equivalent to the M16 Grenadier barrel. So we're trying to go with the largest barrel possible on this gun to give us the maximum amount of damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control, which is what the stock M16 barrel is going to do for us. So after that, we're gonna go to the underbarrel section, and like I said, you don't got to do much more than a Commando foregrip for a large majority of the Modern Warfare ARs. So the commando foregrip is going to be right here. Recoil stabilization, AMAX stability, and it lessens your movement speed ever so slightly, but that's entirely okay. We're not really too worried about that. After that, in the magazine section, we have a few different options in here. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of these different options in here really aren't all that great, especially the 9mm PAR 32 round mag. Listen, if you're trying to make this into an SMG, there's going to be so many other different SMGs that are going to outgun you at SMG range, like the OTS-9, the MAC-10, you know, just to even name, you know, a couple off the top of my head, the Modern Warfare MP5. It's gonna delete you. So you don't ever want to mess with that. And you're not trying to make this into a DMR. I mean, there's plenty of other great marksman rifles and sniper rifles out there. So this is kind of one of those things that, like, if you really want to mess with it, you definitely can, but it's not going to be a viable or meta setup. So for the meta setup, we're going to go with that 60 round magazine here. Maximum ammo capacity for this gun, I always run 60. Doesn't matter if I'm playing Modern for pubs, if I'm playing Rebirth, or I'm playing regular Verdansk, or, you know, even coming up to Warzone Pacific, you know, Caldera, that's the new map. We're gonna be using the 60 round magazine on this bad boy. And then to finish this thing off, because it has great iron sights, so we're just trying to be able to use this as kind of like an aggressive AR build. We're gonna go throw in here to the rear grip section, and we're gonna go throw on the stippled grip tape that increase ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. Overall, you really can't go wrong with this thing. I love using this on Rebirth. This is fantastic. If you actually don't really want to use a rear grip, though, you can definitely switch this out for like a Corp Combat Hollow sight or a VLK 3x. That is going to be entirely okay as well. But for me, the stippled grip tape is going to be awesome. This is my full M4 build. Hope you guys do enjoy this one. Go and try it out. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, next up here in this exact build, or this top 5, is going to be the AMAX. So the CR56 AMAX is a top tier assault rifle. Even nowadays, they've had to nerf this thing at least a few times already. And it's just because it's really good. I mean, it's still good. It's still viable. Not a lot of people use it nowadays just because there's a lot of other Cold War ARs that people like to use, but it's still incredibly solid. And if you guys are liking using Model for ARs, this is going to be one for you. So in the muzzle category, what I'm going to do here is the first thing on there going to be that monolithic suppressor. Of course, I'm not going to explain this here once again. After that, we're going to go straight to the barrel section. We have a couple different options in here. We have the 8.3 intruder barrel, the Zodiac barrel, and the FSS 11.8 Squall. And what we're going to do here, we're going to go for the XRK Zodiac S440. Maximum damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. That's what we're going to be looking for here out of our Modern Warfare ARs. That's the reason we're going to be using this. We're trying to make this as long range as possible. We're not trying to make this a hybrid AR, SMG, anything else like that. We're trying to make this a long range AR, and we're trying to make this as effective because this is our primary. You're most likely to be running overkill like an SMG or something. So we're trying to get you to be more effective at range, and that's what this barrel is going to do. Now in the underbarrel section, what we're going to do here is we're going to be using the Commando foregrip. I've talked about this previously, as this is entirely okay to be able to use the Commando. There's no reason to use the Merc, the Ranger, Tactical, so on and so forth. So we're going to be using the Commando here. After that, in the magazine section, we only have pretty much one option here, which is the 45 round magazine, the M6710 round. This will make this into a DMR. We're not trying to do this. Like I said, you got the M4A1 where you definitely don't want to do that. And in specific with this gun, you definitely do not want to do that. So the 45 round magazine is going to be where it's at on this gun. I'd highly recommend you guys go and try this out. I mean, yeah, otherwise you're rocking like what, a 30 round magazine on an AR, a primary AR. That's not acceptable. So we got to have 45. I'd prefer if there's like maybe a 50 or a 60 round option, but we don't have that. We only got the 45. So to finish off this build here, apart from that though, we're going to go into the optic section and we're going to throw on the VLK 3x optic. This is a pretty standard build here, very meta. This is going to be used widely throughout Warzone, you know, Rebirth, Caldera. If people are still going to use the Modern Warfare weapons, I'm going to be interested to see how all the weapons function when they get ported over to the new game engine. That's going to be pretty interesting to see. I feel like there's going to be some bugs and glitches and everything, but at least as of right now, the VLK 3x optic on this thing works perfectly fine, and this gun is incredible. You guys should go and try this one out. Great setup here, super meta AR. Go try it out. Okay, so next up in here, we have to talk about a favorite also on the channel. That's gonna be the Grau 5.56. We could not make a Modern Warfare top 5 without including the Grau, as this is just still even like a meta AR right now in Warzone. It doesn't matter what you're playing, if it's, you know, Rebirth or, you know, Verdansk or anything else like that. This is still an incredible AR, and I highly recommend you guys go and use this one. I use this in specific when I'm trying to sweat it out here and I'm truly trying to drop a lot of kills. I will love to use the Grau. It's just one of those ARs that just hits really nicely. So first thing in that muzzle category, mono suppressor. Like I said, not going to go over it too much. Next up in the barrel section, we have a few different options in here, but pretty much only one's going to be good, and I'll explain why. So we used to love using the FSS 20.8 Nexus barrel. This is really good like way back in the day, but they kind of buffed and nerfed some stuff and made the recoil a little bit more so on and so forth, and they made this barrel not nearly as viable in Warzone. And what we've pretty much been left with is using the Tempest 26.4 Archangel. And this is, of course, like I said, going to give us the maximum damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. But also what this does is that this has beautiful iron sights on it, so you don't even necessarily need an optic on your gun because the iron sights are so unbelievably clear. This is one of those ARs you can use kind of like the M4A1, where you kind of use it at that medium range without an optic on it because the iron sights are incredible. You can definitely throw an optic on it, but you're kind of wasting that potential of those iron sights. So it's just kind of one of those things. I love using the Tempest 26.4 Archangel barrel. After that, in the underbarrel section, we're going to go throw on that Commando foregrip, recoil stabilization, aiming stability. This is one of those guns where you for sure do not need to mess with anything else ever in your lifetime. Do not ever try it out. When I was initially trying to use the M4 in Warzone way back, I was probably trying to mess around with maybe like the Ranger foregrip and stuff like that, but I just ultimately came to that conclusion that no matter what foregrip you try, nothing is really going to be better than the Commando foregrip. It just genuinely is not, so that's why we run the Commando. After that magazine section, we're on that 60-round magazine. I'm a 60-round magazine kind of guy. It's what I do. And, you know, that's just it. I mean, you know, it's the maximum ammo capacity you can possibly get on this thing. After that, we're going to go to the rear grip section, though. For our final attachment, we're going to throw on the XRK Void 2 that increase ADS speed and sprint to fire speed. Though what I will say is some people don't necessarily like a rear grip, and maybe they want to go use something like a laser. Maybe they'll use the tac laser that will also increase your ADS speed. It will not increase your sprint to fire, but this will also increase your aiming stability, aim mocking steadiness. So if you feel like you want your Grau to be a little bit more, you know, I guess steady, then you can definitely use this. But for me personally, I feel like the Grau is completely steady enough already. So I'm entirely okay with not using a tac laser and going down here to the rear grip. And also I don't have people see that laser. So I just pretty much get to have all the mobility without more or less a lot of the side effects, though you don't really notice any of that recoil control loss. It's just not a thing. So this is a pretty awesome Grau build. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go try it out. And, I love this gun. I genuinely really love the Grau. All right, and to finish off our top 5 here, it was a close pick between this and the M13, but to be honest with you, this gun, the Ram 7, is going to be significantly more effective to me, in my opinion. Whenever I go into Warzone, I will 9 times out of 10 choose the Ram 7 over the M13 if I have to pick between the two. So this is going to be what we're going to be doing here for our final gun, though. The M13 is not bad. It's just not nearly as high damage and as good as the Ram 7. So let's get into this here. First thing in that muscle category, like I said, for every other gun in this game, or in this video at least, mono suppressor. After that, the barrel section, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna throw on the Forged Tac Eclipse barrel. Actually, I take that back, I'm bugging. We're throwing on the FSS Ranger barrel. My bad. I was thinking that was the largest barrel in the thing just because the other one was in the middle, but it's not. So we're throwing on the FSS Ranger barrel here. This is gonna, of course, make this the most effective AR can possibly be. I really like the FSS Ranger barrel on this thing. I've tried using other barrels on this gun, like, you know, the Eclipse and stuff like that, but I will just, normally speaking, find that the Ranger barrel is indeed going to be the best overall. So after that, we're going to go to the underbarrel section to throw on the Commando foregrip, recoil stabilization, aiming stability. Like we've done for every other model for AR. I mean, it's just pretty, you know, tried and true, very simple, pretty, you know, copy and paste at this point. Throwing on that Commando, and then after that, we're going to the magazine section, throwing on the 50-round magazine, because that's all we got. We don't have any other ability to use another magazine on this gun. It's just not one of those things we have the luxury of. Unfortunately, there's no 60. They're doing me kind of dirty here. I'd love to have a 60, but it's just not necessarily going to be a thing. And then to finish off this whole build here, going to the optics section, and we're going to throw on the Corp Combat Hollow Sight, as I don't believe the Ram 7 is meant to be a long-range AR. I don't think so with that recoil pattern. We're trying to use this at that medium range, and we don't necessarily like the iron sights as much, so we're going to throw on the Corp Combat Hollow, and that's going to give us a pretty nice, you know, view of what's in front of us without giving us too much magnification. It's great for close in that medium range. Overall, love the Corp Combat Hollow Sight, and on this gun, it's just incredible. This is pretty much the exclusive way I run this, minus maybe I'll throw in a tac laser every now and again, but the Corp Combat is going to be the way to go. Hope you guys did enjoy this build here. Hope you guys enjoyed this top 5. If you guys did, give it a like, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on those post notifications, and just remember, don't triple cap, don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.